Welcome into Rooted with Cevan Likness. Thank you so much for pushing play on this podcast. I wouldn't even be here without your streams and your follows, so I appreciate you for listening. I'm so excited for you guys to hear today's guest because it's such a good follow your passion, fix a problem in the world, become a success story. My conversation today is with Shannon Waters. She's a former chef and restaurant consultant turned entrepreneur and successful business owner. Shannon is the creator of Gastro Gnome Meals, a backcountry food company that creates super tasty, travel-ready meals for people who appreciate great food as much as they love being outside. Shannon built Gastro Gnome because she found that she couldn't go on epic adventures that all Montanans love to do, see the coolest things in nature, and eat a great meal once she got there. That's when she realized if she was going to enjoy the best of both these worlds, she was going to have to make it herself. So she did. Gastro Gnome Meals is based out of Bozeman, Montana, has been open for about 5 months now, and the food is so freaking good, they can't keep any meals in stock. So let's get to know the owner of this revolutionary company in Montana. This is Shannon Waters on Rooted.
Is it supposed to be in front of my face like that?
It's supposed to be like by your mouth, yeah.
Like that?
That's great.
This feels really unnatural. Good. I don't like
this. Is not your first time on a podcast.
No, it's not.
Why are you acting like it?
Okay, let me rewind. Okay, here I am. Podcast life.
How was your day?
It was fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's all you got for me?
Are you recording this again and you just don't tell me?
No. I wouldn't do that.
You are.
Your day was good. What'd you do?
I started with exercise because that's what I do. I like to wake up and sweat. Like before my eyes are open, I'm just like, move legs. So I did that and I spun at Zephyr. Mm-hmm. And then I came straight to work. Kind of just gathered my wits about me. I missed a day last week. Had to head home to Colorado for some stuff. And just like getting everything together, we made our first sale to a place in Colorado. Our food will now be in Crested Butte.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I'm so excited. The place that it's going to is like an idyllic place to send Gastro Gnome to.
Just hikers or what?
No, it's more about, for us, it's more about ownership of the place. Like, we don't necessarily ever want to be in something like REI, which is why we've chosen Uphill Pursuits here in Second Wind Sports to be in. We just want it to be community owned, like a Bozeman owner owns that shop and they're supplying the things for the outdoors for our direct community. It's not like the money's going to some corporate center. It's those people, the same people that like hike the M in the morning. They own this business. So it's similar like that. It's a similar setup in Crested Butte where it's like family owned and, community based. It's not a big box seller. So we're excited.
How'd you get into there?
Instagram.
Nice.
Yes, Instagram.
You just slid right into those DMs or
what? Yeah.
Like knock, knock.
It's sort of amazing how connected we all are on Instagram. Like someone made a post about us and that got us onto their radar and it just trickled forward from there. So yeah, boxing up their order this morning was a big deal since we haven't made an order outside of Montana yet.
How big was this box that you boxed up?
Do you want like dimensions? Because I had
do you know that?
Dimensions.
You do?
Yeah. It's 3 feet by 2 feet. And it weighed 6 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, we ship boxes, so we have to know how much they weigh and stuff. So
when is that going to be available? In Colorado.
In Colorado. I think they're closed for their off season, so I think end of May. And starting this week, at the end of this week, Uphill Pursuits. So that's awesome. Yeah.
How many places are you in now then?
3.
3?
Yes.
And then the other one was, you just said it, but
Second Wind Sports.
Second Wind Sports.
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's like my go-to shop here for anything used, or if you're like, let's say you're upgrading your backcountry ski set, and you're like, I want to get a different pair, but what do I do with my old pair? You bring them there, and they sell them for you. So it's like my ultimate place to go because get rid of old stuff, get some new stuff.
And now Gastro Gnome will be on the shelf.
Yeah, it's been on the shelf there for like 2 months. They were our first buyer. Brad, the owner there, has been a huge supporter of Gastro Gnome and just telling people about us. And he's been eating the food since it was in like plastic Ziplocs, and he's been the biggest supporter and like a literal cheerleader along the way. Every time I see him, he's like, "How's Gastro Gnome?" And then finally, when I got into bags, I was like, "Here, try it in a bag." And then he's like, "When are you going to be able to sell it wholesale?" And so when I got my license, he was the first person I called and was like, "I'm ready."
Cool.
Yeah.
You have to have a license to wholesale?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's the process of getting into a store like that then?
Very hard. It's like an incredible, insurmountable barrier to entry that anyone in the small food world it's an impossible feat. If you're selling meat products, I should say. If you're selling anything vegetarian, like the reason why the market's so flooded with granola bars, like, oh my God, another unique granola bar. No, we don't need more of those, but there's no barriers to entry with that. You basically can just sell it because there's no protein in it, no meat-based protein. But for the vegetarian stuff, it's regulated by the FDA, and the meat-based stuff is regulated by the USDA, two totally different arms of regulation. And the FDA is a significantly easier process to get approval for, and the USDA is totally different. So that's the one that is a really strong barrier to entry that I've been working up against for 3 years. So
yours doesn't have meat in it whatsoever?
No, the one that we're selling wholesale doesn't. The protein comes from a pasta that's made with chickpeas and lentils, and then a sauce that I make with almonds. So it matches the protein of our meat-based ones, but it's just vegetarian.
What's that one called?
The mushroom ragu farfalle. It's freaking awesome.
I saw you post about that one.
Yeah.
I haven't had that one. What was the one that I got from you?
What
I
color
don't
was
even
it?
remember. It was red. Is there a
Was it
rigatoni
spicy?
one?
Yes, rigatoni.
That's the
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Bomb, by the way. Go, you need to get that.
No, it's sold out. Nobody get it right now. It's
That's why
sold
you need to
out.
get it. Supply and demand.
Yeah, no, that's everybody's favorite, at least of the meat eaters, and it's sold out currently. We should have it back on the shelves by Friday, but
Okay.
it's a fast
So
seller.
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
By the time this airs, it'll be back in stock.
Oh, great. Then
Yeah.
ignore everything that I'm saying. We always have it in stock.
Are you originally from here?
No.
Where are you from?
I am from Chicago, originally the suburbs of Chicago. I grew up in a town called Barrington.
Okay.
Yeah. Midwestern.
Yep. I didn't know you're from Chicago. What I remember about you is Brooklyn, San
Whoa.
Francisco,
Wow.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, for
and
stints.
then Bozeman.
Yeah.
In that order.
That's an interesting path to draw. But it went from growing up in Barrington to Chicago, where I ended up going to school. And then from Chicago, I moved to Colorado for my first cooking job. And then from Colorado, I went to culinary school in New York, where I lived briefly in Brooklyn, but only a year. And then I stayed in New York for another year. Then I took a job in San Francisco. That's where I stayed for the next 6.5 years. And then I came here.
Which has been your favorite place to live so far?
Here.
Yeah.
By like
Minus
the
Bozeman.
longest shot. Minus Bozeman.
Because obviously, look at
Yeah.
Come on.
It is obvious. I love it here. My favorite place, I guess, San Francisco was where I felt like I grew the most professionally. I mean, I went from being a line cook when I showed up and like working for free stages to opening restaurants for a restaurant group. So I definitely grew the most there.
But you were there the longest too, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Outside of
any-
where I grew up. Yeah.
Was that any part of it, you think?
I don't think so. When I got there, I had like a point to prove. Like I was gonna move up the ladder in that restaurant group. I really wanted to work for them, and I wasn't gonna do anything else. So.
Were you always into cooking stuff when you were back in Chicago when you were a
Yeah,
kid?
it was really the way that my dad and I reconnected and continue to connect is over cooking, and I used it as a tool to stay connected to friends in college. And I would just allow them to tell me what to cook them. And I'd be like, oh, God, I got to figure that out.
Really?
Yeah. So it was always like a fun adventure for me, but a way to connect with my friends and family.
So then you studied cooking in Brooklyn, though?
Manhattan, like downtown New York.
Okay.
I studied economics. My undergrad is in economics. And then I got my degree in culinary arts, I think.
Is that a question mark?
Yeah, that's a solid question mark. Sure. I'm pretty sure it's culinary arts, but it's been a while. And then a master's certificate at Cornell.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Restaurant management.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always regret not leaving because I went to school here. Oh. And I had the chance, the big city of Boise, but I got accepted to Boise State to do zoology. That's like what I wanted to do.
And what happened?
I decided to stay with my friends. That's why I'm still here.
And how do you feel about that?
I think any path you could have regrets, not doing one or the other. So I definitely know that if I would have went, I would not be doing this right now.
That's true.
So
you'd be doing zoology.
I'd be doing zoology. I thought it'd be the coolest thing ever to work in a zoo.
Wait, you actually wanted to work in a zoo? Zoology is about zoos?
No, it's about animals, learn about animals. But I wanted to take zoology and then work in a zoo or around a zoo or something with animals. But now I talk into microphones.
You still work with different animals.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's you.
Yeah.
Sure. Did you have anything besides food that you wanted to do?
I mean, you'd have to put a date on that. After 19, no, I didn't think about anything else but food.
Why is that? What is it about food?
I mean, when I discovered the connection point that it made with me and my family, the ability that we could come together and not even say a word and have a line of communication together and spend an evening together, it became a way that I just experienced a lot of relationships was cooking.
Interesting.
Different family members I could be with and spend an evening with and be like, well, we didn't even have to talk about anything. I just cooked all this.
So then you must have been all spread out then as a family.
Yeah, my parents weren't together for any of my childhood. So they always lived separate, and my mom and my dad had different ways of connecting, and food is always a focal point. But yeah, no, it's always been food. It is still the biggest part of my day. Mm-hmm. I don't love cooking anymore, but I do love food. So
it's because you do it every day forever. That's why you don't love it anymore.
Yeah, I'm good not cooking ever.
Okay, there's basically two ways I want to go now.
Okay.
And
I get to pick a path?
You get to pick which one you want to talk about first, okay? Obviously Gastro Gnome.
Great.
And OG story of that. The other one is Gallatin College and MSU and what you do on campus for teaching.
We'll go the Gastro Gnome route, and then the on-campus thing.
I love it.
I'll just say that it's great, and I really love being a part of the food community in that way. It's forever a connection point. Food will always tie me to students, school, professors. Yeah.
Do you teach there? What do you teach then?
I right now am teaching purchasing and cost control at the Gallatin College. And that's just for the culinary students. There's some students in the hospitality program in it, but mostly it works with food and beverage.
What does that mean?
What do you mean?
You're teaching them cost and...
Yeah, essentially right now we're working on labor models. So every cost that would ever go into functioning a hospitality business, from linens, labor, food, beverage, they learn how to manage it. So they're currently writing schedules with labor models attached to them based on menus and ingredients and costs of recipes that they chose. So yeah.
How many kids do you teach?
It depends on the year. This year's different. And I normally teach 2 classes. This year I'm only teaching 1. But I think there's 30 kids in this class, which for me feels like a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
How many hours a day do you spend? Is there grading? I'm assuming. So
grading.
How many hours
I'm not
a
just
day?
oh, you did the work, cool.
Well, just because I've seen you post videos of you just walking around looking at food.
Yeah.
You just walking around looking at food. That's how
you think that's all there is?
No.
That's cool.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's more than looking at food. And I don't teach anything in the practical using of food. But every time I show up, they're in the middle of grading the whatever class is before me. And a lot of time there's desserts. So
nice.
I ate a lot of dessert when I get there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does the kids and teaching at Gallatin help you with gastro?
No. I mean, I'm sure there's benefits in both directions. I'm just not sure what they are. They're entirely separate in my mind. One of the people who worked for me at Gastro Gnome was a student of mine, but he was an MSU student of mine. And that was a management course that I taught about customer service.
Nice.
Yes. Hospitality management?
Something like that.
Where did Matthew
Something
come
with
from?
people.
I don't know. Yeah.
Wherever Matthew came from.
Wherever Matthew came from.
So, did you say how many hours it takes you to grade stuff?
Oh, I would say per class, it's like, including the time I'm there, it's probably 15 hours a week per class.
Okay.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Maybe more, maybe 20 hours a week.
And then how often are you at Gastro Gnome?
Every hour of every day.
Yeah.
And if I'm not there, I'm there mentally.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you there cooking something in your brain or?
No. I mean, the business is, except for what Matthew does, and thank God we just hired an amazing dishwasher who's helping on that front. But for the rest, like everything is something that I do. The marketing, the social media,
Which is a full-time job by itself.
Sales.
Yep.
Sales management. Food production, like the physical cooking of all the food. That's me. Everything that goes into managing the business is me. And then Matthew does all like the safety protocol stuff and research for our growth, things like that. So to imagine that there's even like an hour that I'm not working in life, that's not a thing. Even when I'm like, I wake up and exercise, I think about that as my break from work, but really I'm just thinking about work. Like, what am I supposed to be doing at work? Or...
Can you turn that off ever?
Yes.
Okay, will you teach me how?
It takes a lot. I don't know. I'm like trying to picture it, and I think someone has to like physically hit you.
Yeah?
Yeah, to like snap yourself out of it.
So hire somebody to punch me.
Yeah, yeah. I would say like if you could find some staff that could just beat you up.
It's a start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
How do you time manage all your whole life? That's a lot of crap.
I have color-coded calendars. That seems to help. Yeah. Yeah.
Can you teach me how to do that?
Yeah, that's an easy one. That's an easy one. But like Gastro Gnome itself has 5 calendars. But those are all color-coded from like events to sales to production. Everything's in there color-coded. So it's really hard for me to miss something. Like if I miss something, I just didn't do my job.
Is it a physical calendar or is it just
it lives in there.
Your iCal thing?
Yeah. I think that's how I time manage. I don't know. I tell people no a lot. That's a really good way to time manage is just say no.
Did it take you a while to figure out how to do that?
I think so. Like with my first business, for sure. Yeah. I wanted to say yes to everything because I was afraid that saying no meant I would lose clients or I wouldn't be successful. But now I'm just like, I can talk about that in 2 weeks. Or the answer is no.
That's got to be. I feel like that would be powerful. I'm getting better at saying no because like you, I have to.
Yeah,
now.
You have to.
I can't do it all now.
Yeah.
And do you remember a point when you just were finally like, okay, I got to bulk up or man up or whatever and say like yes and no to things?
There was a lot of growth in the last, not this year, but like in the year prior to that. A lot of my growth was focused on boundary setting, which I think is a hot topic right now. But at the time, it was something that I really needed to do, especially I was like a freelance consultant. There was no boundary. I would do anything. And with restaurants, like there's no stop to work. So my boundaries were wild and didn't exist. And I learned a lot in boundary setting, and I had a lot of wonderful tests in the family realm and in the relationship realm and in friendships that allowed me ample opportunities to test how I'm going to handle boundary setting. So boundary setting was like a huge thing that I learned.
Yeah.
And no came out of that.
You lost a lot of people because of this?
No. I would say that I gained a lot of people I think when I closed the door,
It's a damn good answer.
I closed the door on a lot of things that took up time and space that weren't either good for me, my business, my family, my relationship, whatever it was that I was allowing to drain space. When I closed the door on those things, I allowed a lot more in, especially people. I think I gained a lot.
Yeah. How much of your business do you think is people? You can percentage it if you want. People, and then how much is the food product of it?
I mean, I don't sell people. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, being a business owner and entrepreneur or whatever, I think you are selling yourself every day. So you have to be good with people some way, shape, or form, right?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, my background in hospitality requires me to be like hospitable by nature. I think that outside of the business setting, people find me rather gruff, let's say. I can be pretty straight to the point.
Okay.
But in the actual work world, as far as like my customers go, I try to act with the way that I've been taught and like my nature of hospitality. So I don't know how much of it is people as much as it is the product, because the product is so much better than what else is available that it sells itself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, a lot of my time is spent talking to people. If there wasn't an adventure involved, no one would be buying this food. So most of my talk is about like fun adventures and how we can help that.
Why Gastro Gnome in general? Because you have an econ background, you have restaurant hospitality background, love to cook, but it seems like you hit a point in the road and then you could have been all these chefs or restaurant managers or whatever you wanted to be, and you chose, we'll say, just Bozeman and what Gastro Gnome is now.
Well, I don't think it's as linear as connecting all those dots. Mm-hmm. My love for the outdoors has kind of been like bubbling below the surface, I guess. And when I was living in New York, the number one thing that I wanted to do was be closer to food. And like I just wanted to feel grass and like where food was grown. So I started working on a rooftop farm in Brooklyn on my off days, which was like few and far between, but I just still wanted to work like in dirt. I was just wanted to be in dirt. And then when I was looking for another job, the only thing I wanted to think about was like, where is my food coming from and how can I work for a place that's buying directly from farms? Selfishly so that I can like go be on the farm. I just want to be a part of the food process. And I'm not sure if I directly linked that to like outdoor space, but that's what I was after. And then in San Francisco, to try to mend what I loved, like cooking in these restaurants with all this exciting environment of being in the food world with the outdoors. I was surfing, I was biking, I was running, I was doing everything that I could have available to me there. But it was never really enough to take up the space in my life that it takes up now. And then when I had a consulting job here in Bozeman, I had been here a couple times before, but it was then that I started spending time in the outdoors where I needed food. And when I needed food outdoors was when I realized there wasn't food in the outdoors. And the lengths that I would go to make nice food in the outdoors was not only time consuming, but like wildly impractical and probably unsafe, like given our bare environment. So at some point I just realized if I'm going to stay in the outdoors and I'm going to keep cooking in the outdoors, I have to figure out a way to make packable food for myself. And when I realized it was not just myself that needed it, then I was like, oh, how many other people need this?
Right.
And it was everyone. Everyone needed better food in the outdoors.
How many attempts did it take you to make? You have 5, right? You have 5 different bags. You call them bags?
Flavors?
Meals?
Menu items?
Meals.
Menu items? Flavors.
How many attempts did it take you to go, okay, that one's good. Next one.
It wasn't that hard.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard.
Okay.
But it was.
I was not expecting you to say that.
I started with like, a list of 30 things that I was going to test. And I would say there were like 2 full failures that were like, that's really foul. Cannot do that again. But the first 5 that worked, I was like, cool, I have to move forward with this. I can't waste my time messing with these other flavors. And now, like, I still mess with some flavors on the side and they're not great. And then I realize, like, oh, this takes like 5 more times of perfecting this to do it right. And I don't have the time to do that right now. So I guess it takes a couple months of working on one to get it right for me.
Are you a perfectionist?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm not either.
No. I'm not. Dude, I think that people assume that business owners or like entrepreneurs are like these weird perfectionists that have to have everything perfect. No.
Yeah. I live my life by this term called Gitmo. Have you ever heard of that? I'd be surprised if
but
you
I
have.
bet you're going to tell
I'm
me
going to tell
what
you
Gitmo
anyway.
is.
Are you sitting down? Great. It's good enough to move on.
Good enough to move on.
Yeah.
Great.
So it sounds stupid when you say it, Gitmo. That's dumb.
Yeah, it is.
But when, I know. But when it's broken down, this is how I run my business now, is I can spend, I don't know, you said 5 hours on something, right? And it's good enough where I know that if I change more things, I'll be the only one that notices. But if somebody comes in and look at it from the outside, they're not going to notice the extra little percentage that I change if I spent another 5 hours on it.
Yeah, I think
So
there's like
you're done. You don't have to overcook it.
yeah.
Thanks for that.
That was good.
Thank you.
That was good. Yeah, I fall into that boat, except for some things. Like in my mind, every time I do something like half-assed or I cut a corner, in my mind comes up like what every line cook ever has been told by a sous chef, which is do it right or do it twice. I'll never do something wrong and be like,
Yeah.
man, I hope that works out. Like if I do something wrong, I just start from scratch, throw that one out and do it again. But as far as like perfectionist goes, do I think that like my green curry paste that goes into the Thai green curry is like the most perfect way I could ever have imagined it, and like it's down to the gram, it's the most perfect thing? No. Is it really delicious? Yeah.
Right, but I wouldn't know that. Only you know
No,
that.
you wouldn't know that. I would know
Right.
that.
So I don't think you're cutting corners.
No, that's not a good example of cutting corners, but that is a good example of just calling it and being like,
Yeah.
this is great. I gotta go.
It's Gitmo.
Yeah, that's
I'm going to
nice.
just stare you right
Oh
in
my
your
God.
brain.
Do you have bumper stickers with that?
No, I should get them.
No, you should. I wouldn't use it, but I would like
Right.
to see it around.
I love your compliments are always like, that's great. Not for me, though.
See,
Every
it's like
single
a
time.
boundary. I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's cool for you. I don't do that.
It's like you saying no, but in a nice way.
Is it nice though? Most people see it as not nice.
What did you say earlier? Brass?
Gruff.
Gruff.
A little gruff. It's just sharp.
I respect that, though.
I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's who you are.
Yeah. I tried.
Yeah. I admire one thing so much about you is that
One
you...
thing. Got it.
See, there it is again. There it is. And I struggle with this. I think a lot of people have struggled with this, but finding a passion and hearing you talk about this is like a slam dunk passion project that became a life.
For sure. Yeah.
And there's so many people, me especially, like looking for that passion, that it's just awesome to see it in somebody else. It almost like invigorates me hearing you talk about your product.
Yeah, and I certainly can relate to the people that are doing something that like feels a little bit off. Owning a different business that felt like I was good at it, but it was just a little bit off. Like I wasn't fully in it. You could feel it. Like it doesn't click. It's like being in a bad relationship where you're like, but it's fine right now. And for this, I couldn't feel more different about it. Like I'm so fully invested. My heart, my mind, my body, like everything's in it. And I don't ever want that to change.
Shannon, what is success to you?
Well, I think we all have like a preconceived notion of what that is growing up, right? Like we all think, oh, I'm going to be successful or I'm not going to be successful. And in our minds, that's some contrived thing about a house and a car and then like a partner of some kind and how many kids you have. Everybody's idea of success is probably a little bit different, but for me now, it's just happiness. It's like a comfort in the happiness.
Good.
Yeah.
And you think you're there right now?
Yeah. I mean,
That was a long pause.
I was trying to get out of my mind that one-dimensional thing that I was just talking about. Like, oh, did I have all those things? I don't have all those things that I thought pertained to success. But I don't think that those are successful things anymore. I am really happy, and I am so fortunate that I have an incredible friend group, and my family is healthy and happy and growing. My brother just had a baby.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks.
Is it your first time being an aunt?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And my business is functioning, and it's like really hard, and it's still working, and I'm doing something I'm passionate about, and I get to teach at our school. Like I'm healthy. I have my physical health, and that I like can't even imagine what there would be to be sad about.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots to be sad about, but I have to take it in perspective.
What do you think the main difference is between answering the word what success means and then answering the word what failure means?
The main difference between answering it.
What does the word failure mean to you?
I mean, failure for me would be not doing something that I knew I was capable of, which is so different than how I think about success. Like success is just happiness and comfort and love. And failure is like giving up on myself. Failure is not setting that boundary, not going for this business. Failure would be not trying.
Have you been there before?
Failure?
Yeah. What you just described to me, have you ever felt like that's where you were at one point in life?
No.
Good.
I mean, I push myself to, like, I think about that when there's opportunities in this business for sure to just back out and like retreat and just like let it go away. But I'm capable of more. And so failure would be retreat, go away, find something else to do. But even as I'm getting out of my old business, it's not a failure. What is so successful about it is that I'm walking away from something that I'm not passionate about anymore. Failure would be like doing it when I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
So
you said you said the general we. So when you were younger, you were saying success to people would mean material things, kind of.
yeah.
Was that what you felt like?
I think in my mind, I think about the way that I associated like things that I was successful and would have with, you know, what you think you're supposed to be doing at 30.
Yeah.
It's like this picture in your mind of what's happening at 30, and there's like cars and dogs and houses and husbands and wives and stuff. So what was the question about success?
Well, it was when you were a kid. Is that what you thought it was? Was the material things?
More of like a life
Sure. Okay.
status thing. Like, did you have all the things you were supposed to have? That's success.
So when you were a kid, then success to you is what the world told you it was supposed to be like, right?
Most likely. I mean, I don't know how else you get that information besides like.
No, I mean, there's not like it was like an open-ended question, because I think that sucks. That there's this stigma that like you're supposed to be one way, and then when you figure out that that's not really how life's going to work out, there's like a realization, at least, where for me, I went, oh, that doesn't mean I'm bad at whatever I'm doing. It's just like I realized that that's not the person I was supposed to be, but even though I was told I was supposed to be like that.
Yeah, and I wonder if, I mean, I'm sure everyone has a different overcoming of that, where you have to change your mindset about it. But I wonder if everyone has that moment. I can like very specifically remember where I was choosing an apartment over a kitchen lease when I was first starting Gastro Gnome, and I was like, I either live in the basement with no windows or I live in that nice place, and one gets me a kitchen that I can lease and one doesn't. And I was so tempted to go for like the nice apartment because at least it looked good. I lived in a basement and I got a kitchen out of it.
That was probably the right move.
That was the right move, but it wasn't successful. Like it was grinding.
Successful,
right?
though?
Exactly.
Quote, unquote.
But that's the moment where I remember I talked to a bunch of people about that and was like, I just feel like such a failure. Like I'm moving into a basement. I'm 30 years old. And it didn't. When I got all the pictures together and I had really good advice in those moments, people being like, well, do you want to live in a nice place or do you want to have a business? Like, which one is it going to be?
Yeah.
That was the moment where I was like, I don't really care what it looks like anymore. I just want this thing to work.
Right. How often are you grinding every single day? And like that word, I just thought about it with you choosing the basement because I've done that so many times. It's like I choose to live. Like right now, I'm like, I don't even care where I live. Like I just want a bed matter. And I want a bathroom.
Yeah.
And then every day, the success to me is not where I live. I'm choosing, in my mind, the grind of figuring it out, like the thing that I want for the thing that looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the question?
Oh.
Do you want me to respond?
Well, do you think that you have fallen in love with the grind of making it work?
No.
No.
No, I don't want to do this forever. I want to stop doing this.
What is this?
Like the 24-hour-a-day cycle where
Sure.
I'm always on and like
Gotcha.
my phone is my business is my business, my house is my business.
Mm-hmm.
My relationships are my business. Like everything I ever do is currently my business. I don't want to do that. I want to make it function without me and still have me there. But someone's doing the things that are absorbing all the time that makes me feel like I'm grinding.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't ever think about anything that's not gastronome.
Yeah. Is there something that you've learned about when you were little, Shannon, compared to who you are now, that you learned about yourself?
Something that I learned about little Shannon or big Shannon?
Since you've been a kid to now. Like, what have you learned over your life that you think is, like, made you who you are now?
I mean, a lot. I think, like, a prevailing thing that I know about myself is that now, which I think used to just be stubborn, and it could still have threads of stubborn in it, but when I am told that something's not possible or just like a plain old no, it like creates this fire in me that no longer can be subsided.
Yeah.
And when I hear someone else telling me like, oh, I don't think that's possible, I'm like, oh, really?
Watch.
Let me tell you what I just overcame, because it's a lot harder than that stupid thing you're talking about. So yeah, now something that I know about myself, and, you know, as a kid being told no and doing the exact opposite of what you're told not to do, like, doesn't look great. Then as a teenager, like, looks like a lot of rebellion.
Yep.
And then as like a young 20s, just looks like a crazy young 20s girl
She'll
who
figure
like,
it out one day.
yeah, that just like wants to do whatever she wants to do. But it was just the idea of being told what I wasn't allowed to do would like drive me to do it. And it still does. Like, if someone tells me I can't do it, I'm like, oh yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. I'm the same way. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
As soon as you tell me like, oh, this is not how this is going to be, I'm like, oh yeah, watch me figure it out now.
The only reason it's not that way is because someone hasn't done it.
Yeah.
So like, let me at it.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah.
I love that answer. I accept that one.
All right. Thanks.
You're welcome.
One accepted.
One accepted.
This whole time.
What do you think it takes to be a business owner, entrepreneur like you?
First and foremost, you have to live in a gray area. Like, it's just a constant gray area. You know this. Like, there's no stability to your day. It goes beyond like the paycheck thing, because everyone wants to be like, oh, you don't get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Like, no shit. You have no idea what the rest of this looks like, because it's all a gray area.
Yeah.
Your future is not possible to plan, and you have to be cool with that. Your tomorrow is not possible to plan. If you have staff, if you have a food product, if you have a building, if you have equipment, like, everything's gray. And no one tells you what to do. So I think being comfortable living in a space where everything's up in the air at all hours of every day, you have to be able to find sleep in that. So that's something. I mean, persistence. You get kicked down so many times. That like idea of the no, it can't be done thing comes up literally every day, and you're like, cool, I am so sick of no's, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
So persistence. Luck is a really good one to have on your side as an entrepreneur. Nothing.
Do you believe in luck? Not just hard work?
I think you need both. I think you need like an incredible amount of tenacity, persistence, hard work, a ridiculous work ethic, and holding yourself to an incredible set of standards, and then luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about outside of Gastronome, outside of food in general? Do you do any podcast listening, reading, anything like that you think helps you?
No.
No.
No. No.
No, I don't do that. Next question.
No. I do read.
You do?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do you like to read?
I like to read stuff about wildlife, nature. I'm reading Centennial. And
What is Centennial?
you don't know Centennial?
No.
Didn't you hear that phone call earlier?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I didn't know what it was still.
Centennial goes on a deep dive of how Earth was formed, and it's a big book, like really, really big, and talks about all the different wildlife that engaged with that process and the timelines of it, and brings it all the way to modern day and archaeological.
You're reading this right now.
Yeah.
So you're reading an encyclopedia,
Yeah.
basically. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
it's awesome.
How far are you?
Like an 18th of the way in.
Okay. I was going to say you can lie and say half if you want.
Oh, no. The problem is that I start reading and I'm like, what the fuck was the beaver doing? And I have to go back like 5 pages and be like, okay, I got to read about the beaver again. And then by the time I get to what the beaver's eating.
So you don't pay attention when you read?
I do, but then I'm like, I fall asleep. And it's so dense. Like the information is so dense. You're learning about like their mating habits of, the beaver when it first came about. Like it's just a lot of information. But no, I don't like to listen to like business stuff. People are always like, you should read this book. I'm like,
yeah,
a self-help book about business? I think I'm okay. Like I'm doing the business.
I hate it when people recommend stuff.
Why?
Which is
why do people do that?
I don't know, which is funny because that's the question I chose for this. But I hate being like, and people are like, you should read this.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
you should watch this show.
Entrepreneur Life 101. You're like, cool. Does it tell you how to tie your shoes? Because that's my number one concern today. Like, I don't think I'm gonna get there.
It's so ridiculous. Do you have the movie list?
No.
Where people are like, you should watch this movie, and then you go, yeah, I'll put it on my list, and that just means I'm never gonna watch that.
No, because people know I adamantly hate movies.
What?
I just don't.
How do you hate movies?
I just don't. I don't have a TV. I haven't had one.
You don't have a TV?
Mm-mm. Haven't had one since I was 20. I'm 33.
Okay.
I know.
You don't got enough time for this.
It's super weird. But it's
What do you do when you get home?
How long do you think I'm at home for?
Apparently 0 minutes of every day to sleep.
I walk in and I'm like, fridge, is there food that I don't have to make? No, because I ate it all. Then I close it and then I'm like, my cat is alive. Awesome. And then I go to sleep.
And then you just skip meals.
I mean, I eat anything that comes near me and people bring me food. And sometimes there's screwed up batches and I eat those. I just ate some smoked ham hash that's not going to make it into a bag. So I eat. I just, my time at home is very small.
So your food consumption is very gray area as well.
Yeah, it's just like whatever. It's like a safety thing. If I see it, I have to eat it because I don't know when I'm going to eat again.
Okay. That's something. So if someone was like, you need to watch this on Netflix, you wouldn't even know how to watch it.
No. But I do get my Centennial's next to my bed, so like I can get in bed and start reading, and then I find out about the beavers, and I go to sleep.
Okay. I've never met someone like you.
I know. I hear it. Oh.
I respect it. I respect it, though. I like it.
Thanks. I mean, who has time to Netflix and chill? I'm trying to run a fucking business.
But you don't get to a point where you're completely drained and you're just shut down.
Yeah, and then I go outside, and then I go for a hike, and I'm like, my body needs this, and my brain needs air, and this is the thing I'm going to give it, not like mush.
Gotcha. So that's kind of your fallback passion is the outside, outdoors?
Yeah. I mean, it's what makes me feel more normal, especially when I'm drained. I'm like, you have to go outside because you are going to be a crazy person if you don't. Even if it's like a walk on Pete's, I just go.
Do you meet friends for drinks or anything?
I don't drink.
That.
No, I don't do that.
Don't?
No.
How long have you not drank for?
What's today's date?
Whatever day you want it to be. Are you expecting to just relapse tomorrow or?
No.
It's March 29th.
March 29th. That makes
recording.
It almost 19 months, so a year and 4 months.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Was there a reason why? Was there a situation or?
I mean, there's a lot of situations that I can point to. But the basic answer is I feel better this way. That's like my PC answer is like my life's just better like this. The non-PC answer is that I wasn't getting anywhere. Like I wasn't getting anywhere with my business. I wasn't getting anywhere with relationships. I wasn't getting anywhere with my family. Financially, I wasn't getting anywhere. Like all of these things that were just kind of like barely moving, barely clicking. And I could never really figure out why. But if you go have a drink at 5 o'clock instead of like sit here and record a podcast with somebody at 5 o'clock and now I'm going to go work some more, I wouldn't do that if I was going to go crack a beer. I'd like sit there and watch Netflix or go home. My productivity went through the roof. And for all of the things that I was putting off, like starting this business didn't actually happen until I stopped drinking. Like 3 months into not drinking, I signed a lease. And that took me 3 years. And I have no idea what it would have been like if I stopped drinking earlier, but I can only see the aftermath of not drinking. Every single thing that I ever wanted to start happening just started happening.
You do not think it's a coincidence?
No. Not even a little bit. Like all of my choices are so clear, and all of the things that I do are because I chose to do them. And the things that I say, like I used to regret being so gruff or like so sharp. Now I said it, super sober said it. And I did that. All of me was there for that. And I did that. I chose to do that. So I don't have any like feelings of anxiety anymore. I don't feel that. I trust every choice that I make. And if it's the wrong choice, I live with it. And I pick up all the pieces of whatever I broke and I keep going. Could not do that before because you make a mistake and you can blame it on anything.
Yeah.
Now it just got me.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like that.
It's super awesome.
Do you plan on this being your life forever?
Forever.
Forever and ever? Like
It's
never
forever.
going to have it?
Nah. I've never wanted it once after that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What about like a wedding day or something, or you're not going to have a glass of wine?
No.
I'm just asking.
Fuck?
I'm just
No.
asking. People celebrate weddings, right?
I think, hopefully.
Oh.
No, I would think of all of the things that brought me to that beautiful day, and none of it would be alcohol. There's no place for that in whatever I'm celebrating because it didn't bring me there.
Can you teach me how to be like you?
No.
Oh. I need to color coordinate my calendar.
Yeah, color coordinated.
I need to exercise in the morning when I wake up.
Always.
I need to stop drinking. What else am I missing? There was something else I was like, damn, that's good.
I don't know.
I'll listen back and I'll remember
Yeah,
afterwards.
you remember it later.
What else do you want to accomplish?
What else do I want to accomplish? I mean, for Gastro Gnome specifically, I'm aggressively pursuing our USDA certification to be able to sell wholesale nationwide and direct to consumer nationwide. That's like all that I think about. Everything that I'm doing is to get there. And outside of business, which, is basically my everything, I want to accomplish a balance with that because right now I'm aware that it needs to be out of balance for it to succeed, and I'm aware that it's like way out of whack. So eventually I want a balance where I can have this like passion project of a business and a family. Maybe that would be cool besides like my own family, my dad and my brother and my mom.
Maybe not being so extreme one way all the time.
Extreme what?
Like so extreme one way like you are now, or
yeah, like it would be cool if there was more room for everything.
Yeah.
There's very little room for anything but work.
What does it entail to get USDA approved?
Money.
It's
a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. Like every good thing in the government.
Yeah. Money's not everything, but if you want to do anything, it is.
Yeah. But it does mean like building our facility in a totally different manner. A lot of food safety things that we have to have in place. Thank God for Matthew. Mostly like facility stuff, and a lot of approvals.
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it.
Good. I believe you.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
No,
you don't want to be on the other
if
side.
If it's a no, then I'm going to be wrong.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Yeah. What do you believe in?
Besides myself?
Yes. You can believe in yourself.
I mean, I
believe in you.
Thanks. I mean, that's the number one thing that I have ultimate faith in. It's like, no matter what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do like whatever I set my mind to. So I believe in myself. I believe in my family. They're really hard to not believe in. They're great. What else do I believe in? Hard work for sure. Like,
Yeah.
even if you don't have luck, hard work will still get you far enough that someone's going to notice and maybe hand you some luck.
I would agree.
Yeah. Being true to your values. That's a big one. I believe in that.
Yeah. Hard work and being who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You're the best. Teach me how to be like you, okay?
Thanks. I'll write a book. It'll be a self-help book called
Great.
What to Do When Someone Says No. Yeah.
I'll buy it.
Great.
New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thank you.
That was future New York Times bestseller Shannon Waters. How great is she, though? Come on. If you haven't yet, go visit her and her team at the Gastro Gnome shop. It's on the corner of Baxter and Jackrabbit Lane in Bozeman. Look for the giant letter G on the outside of the building. You seriously can't even miss it. And while you're there, pick up the Thai green chicken curry and thank me later. If you're not in the Bozeman area and want to get your hands on some Gastro Gnome goodness, visit their shop at gastronome.com online. And if you want to learn even more about Shannon and her company, you can follow them on Instagram at Gastro Gnome Meals. Well, that's all I have for you today. If you liked the show, do me a huge favor. Go ahead and leave it a review. That's all I'm asking. On your favorite podcast app, go in there, 5 stars, write a little something, something, and give this episode a share for me as well if you could. Make sure you tag us on Instagram when you do, at Rooted Podcast. Until next week, my name is Kevin, and being successful is rooted way below the surface.